Hello and good morning. Well, it's, I don't know, 10th, 11th of February, thereabouts. and I'm back at the allotment. I think today we're gonna do, hopefully, a vlog of two halves. Perhaps the first bit is gonna be, I'm gonna have a look at the greenhouse. I've got some things to place in the greenhouse and sort of sort it out to house some more plants. And then the second one is looking at the mystery little mini greenhouses on the gravelled bit of the allotment. So let's just have a quick look in. So the first impression is really, you can smell a little bit the heaters, but they're doing the job. It's so much warmer inside than outside. And let's have a look what we've got here. I'm going to reorganize the top bits. Look what the difference a week make. These broad beans have been brought week before these, and they've been sort of sown at the same time. We have a quick look at them later on, and they are much sturdier, still germinating, as you can see here. So the cold is not stopping them. But let's just bring all the things I brought to sort it out, and we take it from there. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is lay some capillary matting in one of the trays for those seedlings which kind of need to be watered from underneath. And in the past, whenever everything was very dry and I asked Nigel to water it, he did with the best intentions, but unfortunately overwatered, and most of the things then wilted because of the dumping off effect. It's too cold and it's too wet. So this time, obviously we need some water from time to time. We're not going to be watering to prevent any kind of mishaps with watering. I have ordered some capillary matting in a kind of large sort of size. It's 5 meter by 60 centimeters, so might be, let's see how that fares. I can use that on this, really, frankly, because so if I cut the whole length of the tray, that should be okay. So I just laid out this with the capillary matting. I'm going to wet it and place seedlings. Well, this is fairly thick and absorbent material, and now that's been wetted, I'm just going to place the trays on it directly. Well, we had some issues with some of these lettuces because I multi-sowed. I will do a close-up on this. It's still germinating, so that's a good news. So I'm just going to leave it at that and see what's going to happen here. I'm just checking if you can have a look at that. So these are the Crimson Crush. As you can see, still germinating. You can see a tiny bit of frost damage, but we will cover everything up from now on. We're still expecting second half of February some frost, so we'll be keeping an eye. And for the last one is the Karmazin, which really suffered with frost, even being in that sort of situation. And I can see some molding on this. We'll leave it for now. I might just, you never know with broad beans, it might still spring from the, but this is the sort of the least tolerant, I suppose. I'm a bit gutted because I just dropped the phone and a couple of lovely seedlings have been. So this is the masterpiece green. We're going to have a few less broad beans this year then. So that's the broad beans now in the greenhouse. Okay. Sweet peas just germinated. So just to show you how tall it is. So I'm thinking obviously it's a little bit starting to be a little bit leggy, but it's sturdy and it's having second pair of leaves. Okay, so just to recap, we have some like a microgreen type sown things here, and these are the lettuces, and these which are germinating now here in the greenhouse are much better looking than those which were leggy and kind of perished, and we have more germination because I did sow them in multiples thinking that that might be the case. So a bit little insurance policy there. So we're gonna let that stay here, and then when we're ready I just transplant them straight into the beds. These are the onions and spring onions, that's why they're so densely sown. The broad beans, pink fir apple, that's the sweet peas. Hopefully the legginess is going to stop, and the ones which I haven't germinated, because I did put 2-3 into a cell, that might improve. And the rest of the potatoes, well, they kind of started to cheat. They were in a light, but it was too warm in my on my windowsills, even in the cold bedrooms and so on. So these are going to be going in a couple of weeks time. So we've got Rocket, the first early, Picasso, the main crop, Vilja, the first early, Charlotte, the second early, and Aran Pilot, I think that's also second early. And we've got pink fir apple here in a good shape, that's the main crop potato. I also have the Aran Victory and Blue Danube, and these are the most sort of advanced ones. They will go as well on the 2nd of March, or yeah, I think so. We'll be covering everything over the nights, which we still expect frost. I might even move these because they don't like wet, but they are in a kind of thing which promotes humidity. I think I might just move them out. Never mind, that's it. I'm hoping now to do what I've been trying to do for a very long time. I'll forget the piping. It's for the water connection, but it's the drain bit which I managed to source, and I'm going to be sowing that shortly with some peas. So here's the pipe. I've got some warmed up compost. I'm just going to fill that in. It's going to take a time, so I'm going to bring you back when this is all filled in. Okay, so the peas I've got here is Sweet Horizon, and I'm going to plant that fairly densely. I do space them in a minute, just trying to see if I got enough of them for the whole of the... It looks like I do. So I just spaced them out. So I don't believe there is any science to it, just fairly densely place the seeds. And I'm just going to cover that and then bring it back into the greenhouse. Ferment a bit. It's just a multi-purpose compost, peat-free obviously, but okay. So I've got this ready. Obviously I'm not watering it, the compost was fairly moist and it doesn't have any drainage. So I made a little space here. This is really quite long, 2 meters long. So let us see if we manage that without accidents. Looks like we kind of are. Oh dear. Okay, so that's fine. The whole length of this is 2 meter one. Hopefully that will work.
Well, Margosha's been busy and I've been clearing weeds and stinging nettles, ready to put some plastic down on a path, and hopefully that will stop them coming back during this year.
I mean, we had it under control for the first year and I think the second year, and the last year they were taller than us again. So unfortunately we'll have to start on this much earlier. I'm just watching the birds. Well, if you watched it to as far as that, then thank you very much. Thank you very much to everybody who watches, and especially anybody who
Subscribes.
no, I was going to say anybody who participate in conversation. But anyway, thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll hopefully see you next week.
So it's goodbye for me.
And it's goodbye from me.